All right, good morning, everyone. It is a Saturday, and this is the first opportunity we've had to offer a global trade and logistics student orientation. The purpose of this orientation is to help guide some of our students who maybe didn't originally get their AA or AAS degree in global trade or in international business and trade to have the natural transition of going into our bachelor's degree. So this is an opportunity to ask questions at the end, but to also get a little bit of an overview of some of the industry, things that you may not have had the opportunity to learn throughout your studies in your AA degree. And then also just a chance to network a little bit with the faculty and staff who manage and really support this program. So we want to thank you for joining us. So again, we are so glad you're here. The coolest thing about the Global Trade and Logistics program that is sort of hosted by the business department is that you get exposure to business. And if you are a business student, no matter what your degree was, you really can easily transition into this industry through this program and bachelor's degree. We're excited to have you just because we want this field to grow. It's really important to our area. It's really important to the world, to the thriving economies all over the world, to continue to have folks who understand global trade and logistics and to support the work that is required to make it happen. So again, we want to thank you for being here. So our agenda for today is just to give a little bit of background, again, on the program, but then also who is the network of people that you may want to reach out to. We'll talk a little bit about the pathway options I mentioned before and kind of how you might have gotten here. We have Sam Kaplan here, who will give a wonderful overview of the industry and provide some real context to the work that goes on outside of your degree. Like, what does the real world look like in terms of global trade and logistics? We'll talk about Highline support, who your advisors are, who are the people that you can seek out, and not just in the departments, but also on campus to be successful. And then we'll finish up by answering some questions. All right, so background on the program. You may not have been aware of this, but the Global Trade and Logistics program, of course, it's housed in the business department, but it has a lot of connection and support to the Global Trade and Supply Chain Management Center of Excellence that's at Highline College. It also is in collaboration with the Supply Chain Management program that's at Central Washington University, the Des Moines campus. So oftentimes you will sort of hear references throughout your studies to these other collaborators with us, especially Central Washington University, where you will take some of their courses that they have in their supply chain management certificate. So here is the network of folks that you can reach out to in terms of questions, and don't feel like there's any one person you need to necessarily reach out to. We are very deeply connected with each other. So if you reach out to one of us and it's not necessarily our area, we know who to send you to. We know who to connect you with. Certainly feel free to reach out first and foremost to faculty. So Samad Shakur is also on the call. Hi, Samad. You're on the camera. Yay. Myself, and then another business faculty, Michael Gervin, is a huge support function as well with some of the courses he teaches. And then we also have Sam Kaplan on the call. Hi, Sam. And you'll hear from Sam shortly, who's the director of the Center of Excellence. So again, he has a lot of connection to the industry and really understands how this degree works in the real world. So what might have brought you here to global trade and logistics? It is possibly the education pathway, which is pretty flexible. When we're looking at sort of the pathway that a number of our students take to get here, we've noticed that a fair number of our students may not have actually completed the sort of perfect fit degree, which is our international business and trade degree, but have completed general associate's degree or some other type of business degree, maybe a general business or small business entrepreneurship, but have seen through maybe some of their coursework or networking with us that the Global Train Logistics degree is something that will provide value, a great career path for them, and so they make that transition. The nice thing is that you really don't have a lot of prerequisites that you have to do to then transition into the program. It's, you know, relatively low in terms of barriers, and we certainly hope to provide you with the support that you need to make the transition in between if you do have a degree that's slightly different. So we'll talk about the prereqs in just a moment, and you may be currently taking those right now. So this looks like a lot of words, okay, but this is pretty much your degree in a nutshell. So if we kind of look in this bottom right quadrant, okay, these are the prereqs, and these courses are actually already embedded in the International Business and Trade AAS degree. So if you didn't complete that degree, then you may not have taken these courses just because you weren't necessarily forced to as a product of your degree. So these will be the prereqs that we most commonly have students who are transitioning from another degree take. Okay, so if you're currently taking those, then you're on the right path. And you certainly would be able to take some of the 200, 300 level, and even 400 level classes that don't require one of these prereqs if you've already been accepted into the program, which you have. So that, again, that's part of the flexibility of yes, you may have some prereqs, but you certainly can still qualify for taking some of your additional 300 level classes provided that they're available. Now, looking at the courses as they're sort of color coded, I felt like this might be helpful reference just to kind of gauge how many classes you're going to take with Highline that are 300, 400 level, and how many you're going to take with CWU. So all of the 300 level classes and 400 level classes that are in green are offered by Highline College faculty. Okay, the ones that are in red are taught by CWU faculty. So you'll notice those are primarily focused on more supply chain, and then Highline supports a lot more of the 300, 400 level general education requirements that you have, in addition to more of the global trade focus, okay? And then you get some of the really important classes like your BI 348 in there as well. So just, you know, this will be sorry, my puppy's trying to go outside. This will be a PowerPoint that will be accessible to you, so you can take a look at this kind of overview at your own time, at your own leisure. So don't feel pressured to kind of analyze all of this right now. So speaking of the BI 348 class, this is some information that was provided to us by instructor Michael Gervin, who hosts that class, who is an expert in that field. And so if you are currently in the program, then you've already taken the Business 216. You've likely already taken Business 218 or currently taking that. You should then transition to, after your 218 class, to take Business 210. And then finally, once you finish that, the final class, which would be a 300 level class, would be your BI 348. Sorry, let me step away for one moment. Okay. Come on, stay close. Okay. Saturday, and I'm the only person home. Okay. So this sequence is just to help you sort of orient yourself when it comes to the data analysis courses. This is one of the main sort of sequences that you'll have to have in the program. The other courses you can typically take sort of, excluding the accounting series, you can sort of take in any sort of random order once you've met the prereqs. But this is the one that you should kind of try to follow this particular sequence. And if you have questions about it, we can certainly answer those later. So again, talking about education, your path, once you've finished all of those courses, you have your BAS degree, right? You are, you know, have the ability to go out into the field, demand the salary that you're looking for because you have the knowledge and expertise in this field. But if you are looking to transition into maybe going to grad school or something like that, that is also an option. So a number of colleges and universities in our state, you know, your bachelor's degree is bachelor's degree. So if you'd like to continue on with a master's, these are the programs that have some supply chain connection that you may want to continue in further in the field in terms of education. So then what might have brought you here? Maybe the industry appealed to you. And so Sam Kaplan is here to talk a little bit more about that piece and how important it is to our way of life and obviously to your career choice. So I'm going to just turn my camera off and then let you have all of your sharing power, Sam.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting your puppy someday. My wife really wants to get a puppy. So hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. And as Shauna said, I'm Sam Kaplan, Director of the Center of Excellence for Global Trade and Supply Chain Management. We work with both industry and educational institutions on workforce development issues. We also help organize a Follow the Supply Chain Study Abroad program that we bring to Vietnam in September. We weren't able to do it this last September because of the pandemic. We're hoping maybe we'll be able to do it this coming September. Stay tuned earlier next year on whether that's possible or not. But it's a chance to really see the supply chain up close. Let's see, Sean, I'm trying to advance the slides, but I'm not sure. I guess I'll just share my own slides. Is that, if that's okay?
Yes, please.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Washington's key role in supply chain. So supply chain careers are great because you can literally work anywhere in the world. In them, supply chains go global. They happen domestically within countries and between countries. But if you want to stay in Washington State, it's easy to do that because we have a huge supply chain and global trade industry right here in our own backyard. Early in the pandemic, this photos I took, I think in mid-March. I went to a place, I guess it was a Target, to get some stuff, and I noticed that there was no ice cream. The ice cream shelves were wiped out. And that's because early in the pandemic, there were supply chain problems. You know, as everyone tried to adjust, as different communities were getting shut down, different industries were getting shut down as we tried to protect ourselves from the COVID-19 virus. And so the supply chain got affected very heavily early on. But the supply chain is relatively resilient. There's been problems throughout the last 8 months, but it's amazing to me actually how well it has done overall. I was back a week later and that shelf was completely full and I got my dulce de leche ice cream, no problem. So the pandemic has been very tragic and very difficult for health reasons and economic reasons and other reasons. But one silver lining of it perhaps is that people are more aware of supply chain and how important the supply chain is in our everyday lives. And Washington State has a huge supply chain. This tries to show the different sectors of it, the different segments of it, and some examples of some different companies. So that, you know, your three big segments of it are transportation, distribution, logistics, supply chain management, supply chain services. And you can see the different subsectors and activities within that and a description of all those. I won't go through them all, but you can kind of glance through that. And you can also see some examples of some of the companies. You know, for example, in transportation and distribution and logistics, you have Foss Maritime, you have Tote Maritime, in couriers and express delivery services. Here's some of the big ones: DHL, FedEx, UPS. Air cargo, airports just down the road from here. You got Alaska Airlines, Delta, and a bunch of other folks, and the rest here. So it's a very complicated and very diverse sector with a lot of different jobs in it. Here's trying to connect all those different pieces. It's really a complicated supply chain. So in the middle here, you see the infrastructure that we have and fortunate to have here in the greater Seattle area in Washington State. The maritime ports, Port of Seattle, Port of Tacoma, airports, as I mentioned, just down the road is SeaTac Airport. You may remember flying through there as a passenger, but if you're flying on an airplane to, say, Detroit, not only is there passengers and not only is your luggage below you, but there's probably also a lot of air cargo below you. So the SeaTac Airport is a big distribution for air cargo, as well as there's lots of planes that are purely flying air cargo in addition to passenger. And then our rail networks and our highways, those are all part of the infrastructure that makes the supply chain work. Lots of transportation, distribution, logistics companies, supply chain management, people are helping with sales and exports and customer service. a variety of services from finance to banks and others, market research, all the compliance, some of the things that you're exporting. If you're selling stuff overseas, you need to have licenses to export. And then there's both the origin markets. So on the left there, you see the origin markets. You're sourcing different commodities and components and raw materials, both domestically and internationally. For example, Brooks running shoes, they're sourcing stuff from all over the world, or Starbucks coffee. They're getting their coffee from different parts of the world. They might be getting machines from someplace in the United States and putting it all together here. And you have many manufacturing industries and agriculture and the government agencies that support that. And then you have your destination markets. So you're exporting some of these things, some of your products and services overseas. And you also have lots of domestic exports. So stuff that we make here gets sold into the rest of the country and also to the rest of the world. So it's a huge industry in Washington State, and what we break it down into what we call all-in jobs. And these are jobs where people are just working at companies that are focused on supply chain. So this could be people who are just an air cargo shipping company or a marine cargo shipping company, or they're freight forwarders or things like that. It does not include, so this is the number of jobs in Washington State since 2009. It does not include people who are working in non-supply chain companies doing supply chain work. For example, at Boeing, there's a lot of supply chain jobs, or at Starbucks, there's a lot of supply chain jobs. These are just jobs purely at supply chain companies. And as you can see, there's nearly 100,000 of those types of jobs in Washington State. So that's as many as there are aerospace, that's more actually than there are in the aerospace industry in Washington State. And then we have the non-supply chain jobs, non-all-in supply chain jobs. So again, these are people who are working at places like Boeing, Zulily, and other companies. And there are about 72,000 of those types of jobs. So the industry as a whole is large. It's one of the bigger industries in Washington State. The total, so that'd be what, 99,000 plus 72,000. So you got about just around 170,000 total jobs in the sector. So lots of opportunities there. And although there have been some layoffs during the pandemic, there's still lots of people hiring in even now, as supply chains are very important, trying to get through the difficult times we're getting through. This is a map showing where the jobs are. No surprise, the largest number of jobs are in King County, but also Pierce County. And then green is the second largest number of jobs up in Snohomish County. So a lot here in the greater Seattle area, but really you can find big pockets all throughout Washington State. And the nice thing about these jobs are they're very good paying jobs. Here's an average wage for the various types of jobs that you can find in here. And what's also nice is you can make a good wage in this industry. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to be a software engineer. You can do very well and have a great career and get your BAS at Highline and do other training if you need to. But it's a really good job. Lots of good jobs and well-paying jobs in this industry. So these are the median income, average incomes in the various categories. And the non-all-in jobs, so again, these are jobs like at Boeing and Starbucks and Microsoft, non-supply chain focused companies, or companies that do supply chain, but their main business is not supply chain. These are some of the kinds of jobs you'll find in there. A lot of buyers and purchasing agents, production planning, compliance officers. Again, compliance officers are doing things like looking at export compliance, both for imports and exports. A Highline college student, Jason Myers, who's in the BAS program, he went on our study abroad program and he got a job for a while at Brooks, filling in for them when they had someone on maternity leave, doing trade compliance work. So he was making sure that things were fitting into what the customs rules are when they're bringing stuff into the country. So lots of those kind of jobs, logistics jobs, and all these other types of jobs. I'll finish with this photo of Pfizer. So Pfizer is a vaccine that's probably going to be approved by the FDA this coming week, and they'll start distributing it. So science has done an incredible, successful job in record time developing a vaccine. So science has done its job. But now really what the vaccine is about, now that science has succeeded, is it's a supply chain challenge. So now we need to get all of these vaccines out across the country and across the world and get people vaccinated. And that is a logistics and supply chain job. So you're going to be going into an industry that is going to be the most important industry over the coming months because of getting supply chain, getting the vaccine out to people and making our world safe again for all us to go out and do what we need to do in the world. That's what I've got for you. Happy to answer questions now or later, and look forward to talking with you all. And I'm excited to see the next generation getting into this great industry.
Thank you so much, Sam. Any questions right now from anyone? Just quick questions before we continue. There will be a Q&A session at the end. All right, perfect. Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
So we will now transition back over to just finishing up the last couple of things. All right, so again, Sam talked a lot about different jobs that are popular and typically very common in supply chain. If you have questions about kind of, again, more specific things, certainly feel free to reach out to Sam or definitely look at the Center of Excellence website, which is linked here. Also, feel free to check out our website in the business department just to get an idea of what some of the connections between what you're learning in your curriculum to the careers. Some of that can be found on our website as well. What is helpful though is the fact that internships are important to this program. So there is a required course that's embedded in the BAS program, which is Business 440. And so if you've already completed your AAS here at Highline, then you've already taken at least one 140 or even a 240 cooperative education internship course. And so just to familiarize folks who may not have taken that course, it's not an actual class. It's really an internship with a real employer. And so listed here are just some examples of some of the organizations that our students have been able to secure an internship with for their BAS degree to complete the requirements for this course. The nice thing is that you're getting credit for learning. It's an opportunity. Oh, sorry, my puppy's back. Okay. So you get that credit, but then you really get the experience, which is the most important part. Is you get a quarter's worth, and oftentimes even an extension on being a part of that organization and really learning what your role can be in the field. So again, Sam did mention about Jason Myers. We have other students who, again, through connections with either our business department or with Sam and the Center of Excellence, you really get to make the most of your network that you have here at Highline to connect with some of those organizations that are really doing the work that you wouldn't necessarily think of, right? You typically think of the folks that are maybe listed here, but as Sam mentioned, there are so many other organizations, so many other businesses that are doing supply chain and logistics work and doing things in global trade. Those connections might not be as obvious, and so connecting with us can really help you see those other organizations and places where you can gain experience. So then the third thing that might have brought you to the BAS program here just might be the fact that you have enjoyed your time at Highline. If you received your AA or AAS degree with us, then you have an understanding of how things work at Highline. You have an idea of the support that's around you. Here are just some strategies to support your bachelor's degree success, because this is maybe a little different than when you initially applied to the program. You like so many folks, didn't see the pandemic coming. And so the idea of having to take all of your classes online might not have been the most exciting for you. But for some, it is more flexible. And so, balancing what are the good and bad of being able to support your career path by staying in your program, and doing so virtually and doing it well. So here's some tips. I won't go over all of them, but one that I think might be helpful is consider creating some sort of virtual Zoom or study group. The folks that you will be in class with in your BAS series will likely be the same folks you're in your degree with for about a year plus. Once folks, get together and get connected, you will have those same people in your class for at least a year. So connect with them, create some study groups, virtual study groups. Figure out maybe a couple times a quarter where you meet to maybe study for an exam or something like that. That will help one, sort of reiterate the knowledge that you all have learned. Bigger groups are probably better. To then be able to, again, share that in the course and maybe share it with others who are coming through the program at an earlier stage. And reach out to any of your academic support systems on campus, tutoring centers, career coach, in addition to reaching out to faculty and SAM for any ideas on jobs and those kind of things. All these resources, they're a part of your tuition. They're already paid for, so certainly utilize them to the best of your ability. And then the last thing that might have interested you in the idea of global trade is, it's the truest form of diversity in terms of business, right? It's that part of business that reminds us we all do work together. And it certainly provides some credibility, I think, to receive a degree like global trade and logistics from a place like Highline. That is one of the most diverse colleges in the state and in the nation. So with that being said, I will open up this time for any sort of questions that we can answer about the program or the industry. And then I'd also like to officially introduce Dr. Samad Shakur, because he is a wonderful resource for all of you. Samad, did you maybe want to just say a couple things about the program and introduce yourself to maybe students who you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
Sure. My name is Samad Shakur. I teach in the business department, and I am actually the main advisor for the global trade and logistics bachelor's degree. So most information has been provided already by Shana in this really great presentation, and also by Sam. So my main advice to you guys is please, please, please always seek advice if you're not sure about which classes you are supposed to take. Like I said, I am a faculty advisor, so I am the main person to help you register for the classes throughout your BAS program. So I always tell students, please always please always seek help. Like, you have nothing to lose by asking us questions. You can always ask me anytime. You can reach out to any one of us, to Shana, to myself, to Michael Gervin, and we are happy to answer all your questions. For those of you who are new to Highline or are transferring to Highline, always the challenge is because we need your transcripts. So that way we can help you register for the required classes at Highline, and make sure your official transcripts are being sent to Highline for evaluation. So that way we can help. If your transcripts have been evaluated, I mean, in the process of evaluation, sometimes it takes time. Please provide us with your unofficial transcript so that we can help you register. I mean, I'm talking to the new students who are transferring to Highline. Those of you who have been to Highline, then we don't have any problem accessing your classes by doing degree audits. So again, always plan ahead. Few weeks before the quarters, before any quarter starts, always reach out to us, reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you make your plan for the following quarter or even for the following quarters. And because there are prerequisite classes and there are classes offered by Highline, as Shauna mentioned, and there are classes offered by Central Washington University. And those of you who are actually taking the classes by Central Washington University, please make sure to contact your faculty members at Central Washington University for more information about the classes. One of the challenge we have, because some students do not pay attention in the class schedule to see who are actually the faculty members teaching the class. And usually because my name is listed under those classes, because Highline cannot list, non-Highline faculty members on our schedule. So I am listed, actually business 440, it's really under Shauna's name. So please, but we managed to actually include Central Washington University professors in the schedule, but many students do not pay attention to those names. So we just want you sometimes to know that classes offered by Central Washington University are under the control of Central Washington University, not Highline. So sometimes they change even the starting date, like the current quarter, they started early and they finished early. And unfortunately, I think 1 or 2 students missed the dates, even though we sent many emails, but he just assumed that classes do have the same starting date. All I'm saying here is just please make sure to access your emails on a regular basis. Make sure to stay in contact with us on a regular basis, because sometimes when there is a change by Central Washington University, we do actually email everyone, but not all students do access their emails on a regular basis. So the last thing I want to say, which is a very simple but important advice, please always seek help. Please always, contact us for any question regarding your classes or regarding schedule. We are happy to help you, and that way to reduce your stress and make sure you succeed during, throughout the BAS program. So I think that's all I have to say right now. Thanks, Shauna.
Thank you, Samad. Appreciate it. So yes, again, as Samad said, reach out for help. He is a fantastic advisor, so never be afraid to reach out via email or anything like that to ask any and all questions you might have. Any questions from students who are on the call right now?
I have a couple questions about the internship.
Oh, sure.
First question is, do you guys have is that something that we set up purely by ourselves, or do you guys have some contacts out there? First question.
That's a great question. And it's sort of up in the air in some ways, right? We oftentimes have students who already have a connection and they want to use that, and we're like, great, that's awesome. For students who don't, then we do try to provide some guidance or connections if they're available that quarter. So it really depends. But if you're concerned about maybe not having connections right away, don't worry about that. We will support you. So that's nothing to worry about right now.
Okay. Second question was, if we start the internship and it's going really well, what's the maximum amount of credits we can receive from the same internship?
So for a 440, we can award up to 5 credits. So it's up to 5 credits. If you by chance wanted to extend that, we could do an independent study, which would provide you another 5 credits because work experience is great. So we would certainly want to encourage that. And so that would be another quarter. So, half a year plus, you'd be able to intern at that particular organization if it's going well.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent questions. Any other questions? All right, well, here's what I will do. Oops.
Shana, can I say something?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you please just share with them, because the good question about the internship, many students do ask like how many hours are they are required to work to be able to earn the 5 credits?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. For every 1 credit, you need 30 hours of work. So if you're going to do 5 credits, and that's 150 hours of work that you would need to complete over the course of that quarter. And we're trying to become a little, hold on, buddy. We're trying to become a little more flexible with how that works, if it maybe extends into a different quarter or something like that. But for the most part, we want to try to contain those hours to that one particular quarter. If you want to take fewer than 5 credits, let's say you do 3 credits, then you just need 90 hours. So yeah, that equivalency of 1 credit equals 30 hours will kind of help you gauge a little bit of how much time you can allot to an internship that quarter, and how many credits you would want to apply for as a result. Thanks so much. Well, if there are no more direct questions right now, I will go ahead and wrap up the meeting in terms of the recording. And I want to say thank you for attending. Hopefully this provided you with some context that maybe you didn't have prior to becoming a BAS student in the Global Trade Logistics program. But again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Definitely feel free to go to the business department website. It has all of our faculty information there. And if you have questions, you can certainly send an email. We do have a general email address, business department, sort of abbreviated there, at highline.edu for kind of more general questions about the department, and that applies to the BAS degree as well. So thank you all again. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much, Samad. And we hope you guys have a great remainder of the quarter and a great path as a BAS student as well. Thank you. Stop.